Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 12th of October 2023. In today's newspaper analysis, we are going to understand about a mapping topic, and then we are going to look into those articles that are important for the UPSC examination. So let us first quickly look into those articles that we are going to cover in today's discussion. So these are the list of articles that we will take for discussion today. Okay, so in all we are going to discuss about 10 topics. This includes a mapping topic also. So the first topic that we are going to discuss is about a strait. This is known as Bosporus Strait. Okay, name of the strait is Bosporus Strait. So what do we mean by strait? So whenever we talk about a strait, so strait is a narrow channel of water. Okay, it's a narrow channel of water that connects two water bodies. So if we go by that definition, so here over here, let's say like one of the water body is Black Sea. Okay, the second water body is Sea of Marmara. So these two seas are connected by a narrow channel of water. So this is the narrow channel of water, let's say like that is connecting these two water bodies. This narrow channel of water is known as Bosporus Strait. Okay, so straits are geographical features. These are natural geographical features. Okay, so these are narrow channel of water. So this is a strait, Bosporus Strait. Its name is Bosporus. Okay, Bosporus Strait. It is connecting Black Sea with the Sea of Marmara. What is the significance or importance of this strait? This is the strait that, let's say, separates the Asia from Europe, right? To the right of this strait we have Asia, to the left of this strait we have Europe, right? To the right of this we have Turkey, I mean like Istanbul, and to the left of it also it is Turkey, Istanbul. So to the right part it is the Asian part of Istanbul, which is part of Turkey, and then to the left part it is the European part of let's say Istanbul, which is also in Turkey. Okay, so this Bosporus Strait is, let's say, dividing two land masses, and it is connecting two water bodies. This is the feature of like a strait. So what is the significance of this strait? This strait serves multiple purposes. I mean like it is connecting, let's say, Black Sea with the Sea of Marmara. So like people are able to transport their goods through the ships through this Bosporus Strait. And apart from this particular strait has been established, let's say, like under a convention. This is known as the Montreux Convention. Okay, it is known as the Montreux Convention of 1936. It is a key international agreement that governs the passage of ships through the Bosporus Strait. Okay, so this is the thing. And apart from this, if I talk about like what is the length of this strait, it is about 31 kilometers. Okay, it is about 31 kilometers, and it serves a strategic importance for Turkey. And also like Black Sea countries, I mean like those countries that surround border with Black Sea, so they are able to transport their goods, vehicles through this strait, to this Sea of Marmara, and then they will be able to transport their goods to other countries also. So this is the significance of this Bosporus Strait. This is like, this is a mapping topic. It's going to be important for you for the prelims exam. So with this, now let us talk about the first topic for the day. This topic is Operation Ajay. We are going to discuss about this Operation Ajay, set to evacuate Indian nationals from Israel. Now, as we all know that Hamas has launched an attack on Israel, and in retaliation to this, Israel has announced a state of war, that it is in a state of war with Hamas or with Palestine. So because of ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine, the citizens of India who are, let's say, presently situated in Israel or in Gaza Strait, so the Indian government has decided to evacuate those Indian nationals, those Indian citizens. I mean like those Indian citizens who are in the state of Israel, if they are in need of, let's say, coming back to their hometown, coming back to India. So in that case, the government of India is going to assist them, and it is going to assist them through this operation, which is Operation Ajay. So it is an evacuation exercise, right? So here we are going to evacuate our Indian nationals through, let's say, like, air routes. So the government of India is planning for special flights to bring back Indian nationals from Israel. So this is one important aspect. Apart from this, In this article itself, they have talked about another operation. This operation is known as Operation Kaveri. Okay, this is known as Operation Kaveri. So what is the significance of Operation Kaveri? So Operation Kaveri was also a evacuation exercise of the government of India. We evacuated our Indian citizens from Sudan. Okay, Sudan. I mean, like, you know, in Sudan, conflict is happening, right? So to evacuate Indian citizens, we had launched Operation Kaveri. So name of these two operations are important, and what is the purpose of this operation, it is also important. Okay, so let me quickly draw a draw a table for you so that you can remember. Number one is Operation Ajay, right? The first operation is Operation Ajay, and this Operation Ajay is being conducted by Ministry of External Affairs, right? It is being conducted by Ministry of External Affairs of India. Why it is being conducted? To evacuate, right? To evacuation of Indians from Israel. So this is an important operation. Second operation is, this is known as Operation Kaveri. So this has also been done by Ministry of External Affairs India, and it was for evacuation of Indian nationals or Indians from war-torn Sudan, okay, from Sudan. So these two operations are in news, so you need to remember their name, Operation Ajay and Operation Kaveri. Having understood this, now let us quickly move to another topic. Okay, we will understand about another topic. And before that, we have a question for you. Number one, it says, with reference to Operation Ajay. So this question is related to Operation Ajay. Consider the following statements. One of the statements says it aimed for evacuation of several thousand Indian citizens from conflict-torn Sudan. So Operation Ajay is related to evacuation of Indian citizens from Israel, not from Sudan. Second, special charter flights and other arrangements are being put in place by India for Operation Ajay. Okay, that's the thing. So this statement is right. Okay, second statement is right. So which of the above statements are correct? Statement 2 is correct. Okay, so correct answer would be option B. So having understood this, let us now move to another topic, and before that, let's say, like, you know, we have an explanation file also. You can go through it in your free time. You can download this PDF from the description of the YouTube video. Now apart from this, we have another topic. This topic is important. It says United Nations Security Council reform is a song in a loop. So this is a very, very important article. Okay, this article is related to international relations. So we are going to understand about this article quickly. So let's understand what is the name of the article. UN Security Council reform. UN Security Council reform is a song in a loop. Is a song in a loop. So this article has been written by Mr. Shashi Tharoor. So he has said that more than 3 decades after the debate first started over fundamental reforms of the United Nations, right? So the thing is, the debate related to United Nations reform has initiated. It has originated when? It has originated 3 decades ago. Okay, 3 decades ago. But still, the UN system has not been reformed. There has been just one incident when the United Nations Security Council was reformed. Earlier, the UNSC, right? So if we talk about the United Nations organization, it is divided into various parts. The major part is, one of the part is known as United Nations General Assembly, and then second is known as United Nations Security Council. The United Nations General Assembly has representation of all member countries. So there are 194 member countries presently, right? And if we talk about UNSC, so in the United Nations Security Council, there are 5 permanent members. Okay, there are 5 permanent members, and there are 10 non-permanent members. Okay, there are 10 non-permanent members presently in the United Nations Security Council. So this is the basic structure of United Nations. So all the countries that are members of the United Nations organization, they are represented in the United Nations General Assembly. However, United Nations Security Council has a skewed membership. It has membership of only those countries, right? Especially if we talk about the 5 permanent members. So these 5 permanent members are those members who have been winners of the World War II. So after winning the World War II, these countries have set up the United Nations organization, and then they have invited, let's say, different countries to be member of it, right? So the thing is, like, these 5 permanent members, they do have some power which is known as veto power, right? They have veto power related to United Nations Security Council resolutions. So this United Nations Security Council performs like one of the most important tasks under the United Nations system. The United Nations Security Council brings up resolution to, let's say, like, resolve the conflicts that may arise between different nations in the world. For example, right, related to certain terrorist activities also, the United Nations Security Council may come up with some resolution. Presently, let's say a conflict is happening between Israel and Palestine, and there also the United Nations Security Council has sent the peace mission. They have sent, let's say, forces there in Israel, right, to let's say bring some normalcy over there. But United Nations Security Council plays a very important role. So if we talk about who are the members of the United Nations Security Council, like who are the permanent members, so there are 5 permanent members. They are very important members. One of the permanent member is Russia. The other permanent member is China. Then third permanent member is United States of America. Fourth permanent member is France. Then fifth permanent member is the United Kingdom, right? So these are the 5 members who are permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, and these members have veto powers. Veto powers in the sense, any resolution that is initiated at United Nations Security Council, they can be vetoed. I mean, like, they can be, let's say, like, vetoed by these members, and once a resolution is vetoed, that resolution do not get passed from the UNSC, and no action can be taken on those resolutions. Presently, if we talk about Russia, right, so Russia is involved in a kind of conflict which is known as Russia-Ukraine conflict, okay, Russia-Ukraine conflict. And the thing is, like, if the United Nations system wants to take any step related to Russia-Ukraine conflict, they have to pass a resolution through the United Nations Security Council, and that resolution will be vetoed, okay, they will be vetoed by the Russian government, Russian Federation. So that resolution will not be passed. So the thing is, like, one of the important, let's say, objectives of establishment of United Nations organization was to stop the world from going into any third world war situation, was to bring some kind of normalcy, so that, like, the disputes that may arise between different nations can be effectively tackled peacefully by the United Nations organization. But the thing is, like, this structure itself is now acting as a bottleneck. It is acting as something which is stopping the countries, right, which is stopping the other countries from taking any step whenever one of the, let's say, permanent members of UNSC is itself involved in a warfare. Okay, so this, I mean, like the permanent member structure is itself acting as a bottleneck towards fulfilling the objectives of the United Nations Security Council. So that's why people have been demanding some kind of, let's say, reform into the United Nations structure, into the United Nations system, and they have been demanding reform particularly in the United Nations Security Council. And the thing is, like, the Indian government, India has been asking for a permanent membership. Okay, it has been asking for a permanent membership in the UNSC, in the United Nations Security Council. We have been asking permanent membership. Why we have been asking permanent membership? One of the first and foremost reason is that this institution has been established 75 years back, and since then no substantial, let's say, like, reform has happened. So it is this, now the United Nations Security Council is not reflecting, right? It is not reflecting the changing geopolitical, okay, it is not reflecting the changing geopolitical aspects of the world. This is one reason. Second reason is, like, if we talk about India, India is the largest democracy in the world now. Okay, it is the largest democracy in the world. Why it is the largest democracy? Because presently, like, India has, let's say, around what we say, like 1.6 billion population. Okay, 1.4 billion population in India, right, out of 7.2 billion population in the world. Okay, so that's the thing. So India represents substantial world population. It is the largest democracy in the world, so it should have a say into this United Nations Security Council. That's why also India has been demanding some reform into the United Nations Security Council structure, but this demand has not yet been met. Okay, apart from this, the, like, the veto power of UNSC members, right, the veto power of UNSC members need to be changed, right, need to be modified. Why it needs to be modified? Because if the members, permanent, like UNSC permanent members, are themselves into some kind of warfare, no other country is able to take any step related to this. So that's why also, like, in this article, the Mr. Shashi Tharoor has said that, like, to bring some kind of reform into the veto structure, they have talked about semi-permanent members. They have talked about inclusion of semi-permanent members. Okay, inclusion of semi-permanent members into the UNSC, right, in United Nations Security Council. So these semi-permanent members, if they create a third category, one is, like, they have 5 permanent members, they have 10 non-permanent members, but if they bring some kind of reform, if they include semi-permanent members, so these members may be able to, let's say, overpower the veto thing by effective majority in the among the semi-permanent members. So that structure can be brought about. So Mr. Shashi Tharoor has talked about that, like, this situation that has arisen now, where many countries in the world are into a, let's say, into a situation of warfare with one another. Many of those issues are not being tackled by the United Nations Security Council or United Nations General Assembly. That's the thing. So many countries are demanding that there should be some changes into the UNSC system, right, into the United Nations system, because it is now not reflecting the changed geopolitical structure. It has been 75 years since its establishment. Initially, it was thought that once we will turn 50 years, we are going to bring changes into the UNSC. But 50 years has passed, 60 years has passed. Now 75 years has also passed, but like nobody has done any changes into this. Okay, so that's why he said that, like, to balance the power, right? So we need to bring some changes into the United Nations system. So the thing is, the Mr. Shashi Tharoor says the problem of reforming the United Nations Security Council is akin to malady, malady presented before the doctors. There is agreement only on diagnosis and not on prescription. So the thing is, let's say, he has talked about a example also. What example? Let's say, there is a patient, and this patient comes to doctors. Okay, there are group of doctors, and these doctors, what they will say, all doctors will agree that, we need to diagnose this patient. These doctors, right, these doctors will say that, we need to identify what is the cause, of disease to the patient. So they will be investigating the disease, they will be diagnosing. But the thing is, each and every doctor will support different kind of medication, they will support different kind of prescription. So they do not have any kind of consensus for prescription, they may be having consensus on diagnosis. So this is the case which is happening with the United Nations system also. Okay, so having understood this, now let us move to the next topic quickly. And before that, we have two questions for you, right? These questions are listed over here, you can go through these questions. One of the questions says, what are the key arguments for and against reform of the United Nations Security Council? Okay, so if we want to bring some changes into the United Nations system, so we need to have arguments for reform. And those people who are not supporting reform, those people who want to maintain status quo, so what are their arguments, right? So you need to mention about arguments for reform, arguments against reform, and how do these positions impact the ongoing discussion and negotiation. So you need to write this answer in about 150 words. Then we have another question. It says, what do veto powers, how do veto powers held by 5 permanent members of the Security Council affect the reform process, and what are the main arguments for and against the continuation of veto powers in our reformed council? Okay, after writing your answer, you can share your answer with me at Jahidul@lukmaanias.com. Right, so after writing answer, you can share your answer with me on this email address. That's the thing. So with this, let us now quickly move to see who are the permanent members of UNSC. We have already seen their name in the article, but here we have, let's say, included an image. So the United States of America, this is the USA, so it is a permanent member. United Kingdom, UK, it's a permanent member, it is here. Then we have China, this is China, 3rd number, it is a permanent member. Then we have France and we have Russia, this is Russia, okay, and this is France, okay. So they are members of the United Nations Security Council. So blue colored, let's say, countries that you can see, so they are members of the United Nations Security Council. And who are those members who want changes into the UNSC? So these are the members, like India wants changes into it, South Africa wants change into it, right? So there is another country here in South America that also wants changes into it, right? It is Ecuador, okay, it wants changes. So this is the thing. Having understood this, now let us quickly move to another article. This article says Modi-nomics, right? It says Modi-nomics fails to buck the trend, okay. This is also a very good article, it's related to economy. Let's understand about this topic. Name of the topic is Modi-nomics fails to buck the trend. This is an important topic. In this topic, they have talked about the growth in India, economic growth in India. So what is the context? The context is related to issue of economic growth in India. So the thing is, when we talk about economic growth in India, we have the Ministry of Finance, right? Ministry of Finance. This Ministry of Finance has been coming up with data, right? They have been coming up with data which is known as the GDP, gross domestic product. So they say the gross domestic product, right? Gross domestic product has been increasing. However, the trend in increase in gross domestic product has not been continuous, because just 3 years before the pandemic, 6 years before the pandemics, out of those 6 years, 3 years the GDP has continuously declined. And in 2016, right, the government of India has taken a move related to demonetization, okay, related to demonetization. What was demonetization? Demonetization means, like, taking away the, let's say, legality of kind of rupee, some denomination of rupee. For example, rupees 500 notes, right? So these notes have been, their legal tender have been taken away, okay, their legal tender status have been taken away, means like they were no longer legal after a specific date. So all those people who were holding those 500 notes, right, rupee notes, they had to deposit those notes into the bank account, right? So people were made to line in the bank, and this demonetization exercise that the government of India has taken at that point of time, they have taken with a vision that they want to curb the black money, they want to take away the black money from Indian economy. However, they were not able to do so, and instead later on, government of India has introduced rupees 2000 notes, okay, they have introduced rupees 2000 notes, right? But later on, these notes have also been withdrawn by the Reserve Bank of India. These notes have also been withdrawn from the, so the thing is, like, they have initially done demonetization, they have introduced some other notes. These notes have also not performed well, so they have, let's say, in a way demonetized these notes also. So the government of India seems to have a kind of, let's say, attachment with demonetization. However, many financial analysts say that this demonetization exercise has proved to be fatal for Indian economy. They have done disservice, okay, it has done what? Disservice, right, to the aspirations of people, to the aspiration of a growing economy. So it has not helped the country to grow. Instead, it has taken the country backward, okay. In this article, they have said that Modi-nomics, the way Modi or like the Prime Minister of India conducts the economy, it fails to buck the trend. It is not able to match with the, let's say, trend related to economy. So in this article, they have discussed about this factor, and apart from this, they have discussed about another factor. That another factor is related to gross domestic product, GDP. So for measurement of GDP, we do have different methods that we follow. One of the method is known as income method, okay, one of the method is known as income method. So the thing is, the Ministry of Finance, okay, or Ministry of Finance, what it does, it uses the income method to calculate GDP of the country, and it has been doing it for a long time. However, many analysts, many experts in let's say, in finance, in economics, they say that this income method of calculating GDP is a flawed method. They say it is a flawed method. Instead, they should use expenditure method, okay. So people support using expenditure method, okay, expenditure method, because the expenditure method reflects more about how the economy is performing, how the GDP is performing. So that's why using this argument also, people say that Modi-nomics is failing, okay, it fails to buck the trend. So this is the thing, okay. So in this article, they have talked about that we don't need to see only the past few years since the government came into power, I mean like from 2014 till now. We also need to see the trend from 1950. I mean like since India became independent, since then we need to see the trend in the Indian economy. So in this article they have discussed about that factor as well. Okay, so finally they have said that like they have said that the focusing on GDP growth after COVID-19 pandemic may show the Indian economy in a relatively good light, but it misses the point of economic management under the present government. Okay, so the thing is like economic management by the present government has not happened in a good manner, right? So that's why they say Modi-nomics fails to buck the trend. Means like these are some of the arguments that you can put forward if you have to criticize, right? If you have to criticize the, let's say, achievement of the present government, right? If let's say a question come in this regard. So this is related to GS paper 3 of the mains exam. Okay, so it gives you some perspective related to this. Having understood this topic, now let us quickly move to another topic. This topic says spring cleaning. Okay, spring cleaning. So this is an important topic related to GS paper 3 of the mains exam. It's also important for the prelims exam. Okay, so it's related to economy. So this article says fixing grey areas is good, but GST regime needs a broader reform plan. Now we need to understand what is GST. Okay, so when we talk about the goods and services tax, so this goods and services tax was introduced by the government of India in the year of 2017. This goods and services tax was brought, right, to club together all the different types of indirect taxes. Okay, to club together different types of indirect taxes. So it was a kind of umbrella taxation system. The goods and services tax was an umbrella taxation system that brought together different types of indirect taxes, right, under its ambit. So this has been implemented through GST Act 2017, and under this GST Act the government of India has also created something which is known as GST Council. They have created GST Council, and this GST Council, let's say, is the apex level body that takes decision related to matters of goods and services tax variation or other aspects related to this. This GST Council has representation from the central government, it has representation of the states also, right, and they take decision based on, let's say, like majority opinion. Goods and GST Council. So in this article they have said that GST Council did not meet like in the last 5 years, in the last year 2022 it has hardly met for 2 times, but in 2023 this year it has already met 3-4 times. I mean like now GST Council is doing more deliberations. Why? So that they can bring some changes into the way that taxation structure is looked into. So recently the GST Council has taken decision like related to some grey areas. Grey areas means those areas that were unclear earlier related to how taxation will happen, what percentage of tax will be applied on that. So this thing is being appreciated by the author. The author says that taking good decision in the grey areas was right, and one of the good decision that they have taken is it slashed the GST on molasses from 28% to 5%. So it reduced the GST rate on molasses from 28% to 5%. However, still the GST system needs wider reform. So that's why the author says that author says, for example, the liquor related thing, I mean alcohol, GST does not have, they do not implement tax on alcohol. So alcohol is a part of the state government, so they are implementing taxes on it. However, there is some component in the alcohol that is used. It is known as extra neutral alcohol. So this extra neutral alcohol is added into the alcohol for human consumption. On this, the GST Council imposes taxes. So the author says that the GST regime needs broader reform plan. Okay, it needs broader reform plan. That's the thing. Okay, so it's a short topic, but this topic was good for let's say economy point of view. Now we have another topic. This topic is related to Indian society, or you can say it's related to Indian polity as well. So here the author says women's quota, rhetoric and reality. Okay. So this topic is women's quota, right? Rhetoric and reality. So related to women's quota, we have passed 106th Constitutional Amendment Act. This 106th Constitutional Amendment Act is related to what? Women's reservation into the parliament. Okay, this was related to women's reservation in parliament and state legislative assemblies. Okay, so this 106th Constitutional Amendment Act has given 33% reservation to the women, right, into the seats of the parliament and state legislative assembly. Parliament means in the Lok Sabha, right, specifically like that. So the thing is, by bringing this legislation, the government should have made it effect, but the thing is, like, they have put two conditions on it. What are the conditions that have been put by the government? We need to understand about those conditions. One of the condition is they want to conduct a census first. Census means counting the population, doing the population exercise, which is done once every 10 years in India. Means like last census was conducted in 2011. Okay, last census was conducted in 2011. And again the census have to be conducted in 2021, but because of COVID-19, the census exercise got postponed. Okay, it got postponed, and still we are in 2023. The next census has not been conducted by the government. Since the next census was not conducted by the government, now the thing is, like, the next census may happen in 2031. If census happens in 2031, after then the government of India wants to conduct an exercise which is known as delimitation exercise. Okay, it is known as delimitation exercise. So what is delimitation exercise? Delimitation exercise is an exercise which is conducted by the Election Commission of India. It is done to redraw the boundary of the constituencies for the state legislative assembly elections and also for the Lok Sabha elections. Okay, so this delimitation exercise is conducted by a delimitation commission which is set up by the Election Commission of India. So this, if we want to do a delimitation exercise for the entire country, for India, it's again going to take a lot of time after the census. So the thing is, effectively by putting these two conditions, the government of India has, let's say, like, postponed the implementation of women's reservation for more than a decade. I mean, like, it may happen that women may be able to get the benefits of reservation after a decade from now. Okay, so the thing is, like, if author says, if there is a consensus among people that women needs reservation, women should be given reservation, so why not they have implemented this particular thing from right away, like, from now itself. So this is one of the, let's say, like, arguments that is put forward by this author in this article. So author says that Parliament has committed an egregious folly in fusing women's reservation with delimitation. Okay, so author says that Parliament has committed an egregious folly, okay, in fusing women's reservation with delimitation. Means like we have provided reservation to women, however they will not be able to avail the benefit. They will be able to avail benefit only after the delimitation is done, and delimitation will be done after the next census, right, that happens. So census exercise is a big exercise that has to be conducted by the Election Commission of India. Alright, so that's the thing. So having understood this topic, now quickly move to another topic. It says concerns about government's fact check unit. Okay, concerns about government's fact check unit. So what do we mean by this fact check unit? To understand about fact check unit, we need to understand about one important aspect, which is known as Information Technology and Digital Media Ethics Code Amendment Rules. Okay, so let's understand about this. Name of the topic, it's a very good topic. concerns about government's fact check unit. So to understand this, we need to understand that the Bombay High Court on September 29 reserved its verdict in a batch of petitions. So let's understand what is the context of this topic. The context of this topic is a Bombay High Court judgment. Okay, Bombay High Court judgment. Bombay High Court judgment was related to a topic which is known as IT rules, right? IT rules, which was amended in 2023. So what is the full form of the IT rules that we are talking about? This IT rule stands for information technology. I'm going to write the full name so that you remember this. Okay, it is known as information technology, right? Information technology, intermediary guidelines and digital media. Intermediary guidelines and digital media ethics code amendment rules. Okay, ethics code amendment rules 2023. So the thing is, like, Bombay High Court was hearing a case related to this particular rule, which is information technology, intermediary guidelines and digital media ethics code rules, right? So it was hearing a matter related to this. So what is the matter? We need to discuss about it now, right? So the thing is, like, Government of India had already an IT rule. Okay, it had IT rule 2021. So this IT rule of 2021 allowed, right? So this rule, like, this comes under the Ministry of Information, like, MEITY. It is known as MEITY, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So this ministry actually has a department under it which is known as Press Information Bureau. This Press Information Bureau, I mean, like, it releases updates from the government, and also it acts as a fact check unit of the government. It does fact checking of, like, whether the information that is being made public about the central government is correct or not. But after this IT rule, the Government of India has come up with amended IT rule, which is known as Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code rule. So these rules, I mean, like, here they have included one more provision. So this rule has one more provision. So what was that provision? The provision was that they have created a fact check unit. Okay, they have created a fact check unit. So what was the purpose of this fact check unit? Basically, this fact check unit was given the authority that you can scan the internet. You can see, like, whether any private entity or individual or any, let's say, like, like news media, right? If they are sharing some information related to central government, you need to identify which of the information is fake. You need to identify which of the information is fake, which one of them is false, or which one of them is misleading, right? And then you can ask, right? You can, this fact check unit, right, it was given this responsibility, and you can ask that particular digital intermediary, right? You can ask that intermediary to take down, okay, to take down that information from the internet. That was the thing. But people have signed petition, people have, let's say, written to the Bombay High Court, they have approached the Bombay High Court, they have said that, like, fake, false or misleading, they are very vague terms, and these vague terms may be used by the government, right, to take down those articles that are criticizing some of the moves of the government, because like what is fake, what is false, what is misleading, they are opinionative let's say topics, so they are subjective matters, and every person can have a different opinion on whether something is fake or false or misleading. So the thing is like they have argued in the Bombay High Court that like Bombay High Court should give a direction to like to the government, so that this fact check unit may be made, right, so that this fact check unit may be made null and void, I mean like so that they can stop the fact check unit. However, the government of India has, let's say, approached the Bombay High Court. They have said that like this fact check unit is just for, let's say, informing these digital intermediaries to take down the information, but like it is not doing any coercive activity on them. But if we talk about what are the new things now happening, like there was an agency which is known as NewsClick, right? It was an online it was an online platform for news. So the thing is, government of India has sent ED, they have sent like many of the state machineries, and they have arrested the people over there. So the thing is, the people from the press, they are concerned about freedom of press in India. So there is an index also which is known as freedom of press index, right? Freedom of press, freedom of press in the world. So it has around 180 countries, and out of them India ranks 141. Okay, so India ranks relatively very low in the freedom of press index, right? World freedom of press index, that's the thing. So Bombay High Court, after hearing the petitioners and also respondent, which is the government, so Bombay High Court has reserved its decision. It has said that we are going to take a decision related to this on December 1, okay, on December 1, 2023. So they are going to take a decision, or they are going to give their verdict in December. Until then, both the parties are waiting, right, related to this. So I hope like it is understood now. So having understood this, let us now talk about some other things. So in this article, they have talked about some of the let's say like rules related to this. Another important topic for the day, this topic is again important. It says Supreme Court divided on women's, okay, Supreme Court divided on women's right to end 26-week pregnancy. So this is related to pregnancy like abortion, okay. So like end thing is known as abortion. So I hope all of you understand what is the meaning of abortion. So if a woman is pregnant, if she wants to end the pregnancy, that is known as abortion. However, the abortion laws in India are regulated, right, under a act which is known as Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Act, okay. So let's discuss about this topic, okay, quickly. So I am just writing the topic as ending pregnancy, okay. So this article revolves around a topic which is known as abortion. We need to understand the meaning of abortion and the laws that are in place that govern the abortion, okay. This law is known as the medical termination, okay. It is known as the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, okay. It is known as MTP Act. Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Act 2021. Amendment Act 2021. So earlier we had a Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971, okay. Earlier we had a act which is known as MTP Act 1971. So after 50 years, right, after 50 years means like in 2021 they have amended this act. So the thing is like what are the clauses in this act? So this particular act, let's say like, lays down some rules, lays down some guidelines related to pregnancy. They talk about, let's say like, they talk about the eligibility of women, eligibility conditions, who will be able to perform let's say abortion. So the thing is, they say that if a woman is pregnant and let's say like, the pregnancy, if she bears a child, so it may risk her life, so that can be one ground for abortion. That's the thing. Second is, if there is a rape survivor, if there is a woman who is a rape survivor and she has a child, so she can go and abort that child. So these are some of the, let's say, conditionalities associated with it. Now who can perform this thing? So like, who can perform so when we talk about doctors, so these doctors should be registered medical practitioners. Okay, these should be registered medical practitioners who are working under some government establishments or private agencies. Okay, so registered medical practitioners can perform these things. And the thing is, it does have other conditions also that say that they need to there is a requirement of prior informed consent. Okay, prior informed consent means if the doctors are performing any kind of abortion for a woman, they should take prior informed consent from the women. They should inform the women that these are the conditions, that's why you need to abort. And once the woman gives her consent, only then they should perform the this particular thing, pregnancy. So the thing is, like, as we discussed, the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, it talked about that, like, like if a child is there, like, it has been, let's say, up to 20 weeks, so that abortion was allowed, legally abortion was allowed. But this Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Act, through this thing, they have increased the time period to 24 weeks. Okay, they have increased to 24 weeks. But the case that the Supreme Court of India is hearing, it has issues related to 26 weeks. There is a woman who wants to abort a child. She already has 2 children. The youngest among them is less than 1 year. So that's why she does not have another baby. But the thing is, now the medical practitioners had divided opinion. They said, like, some of the medical practitioners said that, like, women has bodily autonomy. Okay, women has what? Bodily autonomy. So the thing is, like, it's her decision related to abortion should be upheld. So some doctors were of this opinion. Other doctors were said then that since the child is already 26 weeks, if we abort that child, so it will be killing a very infant life, killing a life that has not yet let's say seen the world. So that's why they have approached the Supreme Court of India. In the Supreme Court of India, the government of India has a stand that, like, the women should not be allowed to abort the child. Other person has a stand that, like, women should be allowed abortion. So it was being heard by a 2-judge bench. Okay, it was being heard by a 2-judge bench of the Supreme Court of India. The 2-judge bench had both the judges as women's. Okay, so they also had divided opinion. One of the judge upheld abortion, other judge said, like, we will not allow abortion. So that's why they have referred this matter to a higher judge bench. Okay, they have referred this matter to a higher judge bench of the Supreme Court of India. So now the Chief Justice of India will have to take a decision related to this. Okay, so this is the thing that we are going to we are talking about today. So she is one of the judge, right? Justice V.B. Nagaratha. So the interest of the petitioner has to be considered. She was in favor that, like, abortion should be allowed. The other judge, Justice Hima Kohli, I think. So the other judge, she was not in favor of allowing the abortion to happen. Then we have another topic quickly. It says 3.21 lakh appeals pending with the Information Commission report. Okay, so we have Chief Information Commissioner, we have information commissioners in various states, and, like, we have information commissions across India in different states. So most of these information commissions are having information commissioners, and they have a machinery. So they provide information under Right to Information Act to the people. But recently what has happened, like under an RTI application, it has been revealed that, like, in some of the states, right, the information commissioner, the information commission is defunct. They said in 4 states, Jharkhand, Telangana, Mizoram and Tripura, the information commission is defunct. They are not functioning because they do not have the information commissioners appointed. Okay, so that's why this is the case. So in this article they have said around 3.21 lakh let's say, like, appeals are pending before the information commissioners. And so in different states they said, like in the state of West Bengal, if they want to clear all the pending appeals, it will take around 24 years. Chhattisgarh 4 years. Similarly, they have mentioned about other states, right? They have mentioned about the states, and they have mentioned about how much time it is going to take for them, right, to provide information to the people, right? So that's the thing. So another topic quickly, it says India likely to skip China's Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, so like the Hindu analysis is going on. We have not yet started the ED class. Okay, so ED class may be started there. Like I don't know.
They said it will start here.
Why?
Because you are here.
No, I'm going to go there. So this is another topic. It says India likely to skip China's Border and Road Initiative Summit. So China has started, which is known as, like, border like Belt and Road Initiative. So under this Belt and Road Initiative, they have 2 parts. One part is creating of road infrastructure that will connect China with, let's say, Asia, and through Asia to Europe. And then they have another thing which is known as Maritime Silk Route, means like it is going to connect different countries across the world through maritime routes, right? So China is going to conduct a summit related to the Belt and Road Initiative. However, India may not participate over there. There are multiple reasons related to it. One of the reason is that China, like the head of Chinese government, he did not participate in G20 summit. That was one thing. Other thing is, recently they have released a map, and in that map they have claimed territories of India, which is Arunachal Pradesh as their own territory. So that is also not liked by government of India. Then other issue is like ongoing tension between India and China related to some bordering areas. So that's why the Prime Minister of India may not participate in the Belt and Road Initiative. Okay. So in this article they have talked about that this Belt and Road Initiative project, right, for this project Chinese government has spent around $380 billion so far. So the thing is, it's a mega infrastructure project. Okay. So this is the thing, they have not talked much on this, right? So with this we will, so I have included 2 maps also, so people can go through these 2 maps. So that's all for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending the Hindu newspaper analysis today. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.